Hi, it's Chris from Wild Berry Patch, and I'm here with Wisdom and Praise, and I've got some thoughts on day 18. That is Psalm 18, Psalm 48, Psalm 78, Psalm 108, Psalm 138, and Proverbs 18. Psalm 18 starts with, "For the choir director of the servant of the Lord, David, who spoke the words of this song to the Lord on the day the Lord rescued him from the hand of his enemies and from the hand of Saul. He said, I love you, Lord, my strength. The Lord is my rock, my fortress, my deliverer, my God, my mountain, where I seek refuge, my shield and the horn of my salvation, my stronghold. I called to the Lord, who is worthy of praise, and I was saved from my enemies." Then he describes the distress he was in, and then he describes God coming to his aid. "He reached down from heaven and took hold of me and pulled me up out of deep waters. You rescued me from my powerful enemy and from those who hated me, for they were too strong for me." One of the key things I find here is that all through David's struggles, he maintained his relationship with the Lord. "I was blameless toward him, and I kept myself from sinning." Well, we all know that you can't keep the law. So the whole thing about I'm blameless, we know David had sin. I mean, we don't even have to wonder about it. But he paid the sacrifices. He did what it took to be right before God. That's the important point. "With the faithful, you prove yourself faithful." This is David speaking of God. "With the blameless man, you prove yourself blameless. With the pure, you prove yourself pure. But with the crooked, you prove yourself shrewd." And David says he has confidence. "Lord, you light my lamp. My God illuminates my darkness. With you I can attack a barrier, and with my God I can leap over a wall." That verse has different versions, and different ones are great statements for confidence with God. "God, his way is perfect. The word of the Lord is pure. He is a shield for all who take refuge in him. He makes my feet like the feet of a deer, makes my feet like hinds' feet. You have given me the shield of your salvation. Your right hand upholds me. Your humility exalts me. The Lord lives. May my rock be praised. The God of my salvation is exalted. God, he gives me vengeance and subdues people under me. He frees me from my enemies. He gives great victory." Now, remembering that we're not talking about personal enemies in our day, in our dispensation, but in his day they were human being enemies to the kingdom. Psalm 48, "The Lord is great and highly praised in the city of our God, and the mountains rising splendidly is the joy of the whole earth. Mount Zion on the sides of the north is a city of the great King." That's beautiful in King James. This is talking about God's defense. He was defending. Psalm 48 is one of the songs of Korah, but it lines up with Psalm 18, talking about God delivering him from enemies. "God, within your temple we contemplate your faithful love. Your name, God, like your praise, reaches to the ends of the earth, and your right hand is filled with justice. This God, our God, forever and ever, he will always lead us." The faithful, eternal nature of God. Psalm 78 starts out, "My people, hear my instruction and listen to what I say. I will declare wise sayings. I will speak mysteries from the past, things we have known and heard, and that our fathers have passed down to us." And then all of Psalm 78, they talk about not hiding it from the children, that we must tell the children, we must remind the children what God has done for us, so that they would not be like their fathers, a stubborn and rebellious generation. And he talks about the stubborn and rebellious generation and how they did not keep God's commandments and how they continued in sin and how they asked for things and how he gave it to them and then they turned against him again. And they are talking consistently about, despite all this, they kept sinning. He talks about what God did for them and did not believe his wonderful works. So he made their days end in futility and their years in sudden disaster. Talks about how the Israelites rebelled against him in the wilderness. And we have our lives. How many times do we rebel against God? And then we come to him and ask for forgiveness. And then we say, we're going to do right, we're going to do right, we're going to do right. But our flesh causes us to sin again. The point is, we continue to progress forward into that right life, that righteous life, and being right with God. It goes on, there's 72 verses in this one, and the end is, he shepherded them with a pure heart and guided them with his skillful hands. So that's Psalm 78. Psalm 108 is a very joyful psalm. My heart is confident, God. I will sing praises. With the whole of my being, wake up, harp and lyre. I will wake up the dawn. I will praise you, Lord, among the peoples. I will sing praises to you among the nation. God has spoken from his sanctuary. I will triumph. I will divide up Shechem, and I will apportion the valley of Succoth. And then God is talking about what parts are his, the kingdom that he has. And the very end is, give us aid against the foe, for human help is worthless. With God we will perform valiantly. He will trample our foes. I can't do things without God taking a stand for me. And that's what that psalm talks about. Psalm 138, I will give you thanks with all my heart. I will sing your praise before the heavenly beings. I will bow down toward your holy temple and give thanks to your name. For your constant love and truth, you have exalted your name and your promise above all else. On the day I called, you answered me and increased my strength within me. This is a go-to verse that I'm clinging to. The Lord will fulfill his purpose for me. Lord, your love is eternal. Do not abandon the work of your hands. The Lord has started a work in me, and I believe he will complete it. He who began a good work will complete it in that day. So Proverbs 18, there were just a few things that I wanted to point out. And verse 4, the words of a man's mouth are deep waters, a flowing river, a fountain of wisdom. Many, many, many of these verses in Proverbs 18 are about mouths. And verse 10 is a very special spiritual warfare one. The name of the Lord is a strong tower. The righteous run to it and are saved. That's a very special one to remind us that God has the name of God. And for us Christians, the name of God is Jesus. The name of the Lord is a strong tower, and the righteous run to it and are safe. Grace, the one who gives an answer before he listens. This is foolish and a disgrace. It's grace to listen before you come up with an answer. Here's a mental health one. A man's spirit can endure sickness, but who can survive a broken spirit? I have had broken spirit at times, and it is devastating. Life and death are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it will eat its fruit. We've talked about the cross references to that several times. And then my husband repeated this often. A man who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord. So the Lord bless you and keep you and make his face shine upon you and give you peace that passes all understanding. Thank you for joining me in day 18. I'll see you next time. Bye.